Welcome to Bruges, Belgium. This is our first time in this port and in this country, so first stop for Belgium for us ever. And you can see by the port, well, it's mostly a car import-export terminal and container terminal. So a whole lot of cars waiting to be exported. The city you can't even see from here. I'm not sure where it's at, but I'm guessing it's a small city right over here. I see one church and a bunch of windmills. So apparently there's a car factory somewhere around here. Also, a little naval yard, a little patrol station right here also. So not a whole lot in Bruges, but we'll go take you a look on the other side. Today we're going to a chocolate factory. So we'll see how that goes. Let me take you a look on the other side. And this is the other side of the ship. Way off in the distance, past the port entrance, you can see just rows and rows of windmills. And of course, in the port, there's windmills here also. So it looks like they get a lot of their power from wind. It is bright and sunny today. Of course, I'm in my usual shorts and t-shirt, and it is high 60s right now, but forecast to get into the mid 70s. So a little bit warmer weather today.
And as you can see on the map, Bruges is the farthest south port that we have. We're not that far from Dover. It's just across the English Channel or the bottom of the North Sea. And today we have another tour booked through the ship. So another shore excursion through Carnival. Here we're going to Bruges, Belgium. And here we're going to take a chocolate making tour. We didn't know what to do here, so we decided to be pretty conservative and just book something through the ship. That way we'd know we'd have a good tour. So we'll take you along and show you exactly what we did on this tour. But first I'll give you a little location, because this city, Bruges, is a historic city. And whenever I say historic, some of the buildings dated back to the 900s. And this is where we are today. We'll start off the trip this morning in the port of Bruges, which is right here is where the cruise terminal is. And now there's not really a whole lot in Bruges that's right here at Bruges. But where we're going to is the main city, Bruges, which is just a little ways further over. There's a canal that goes straight to the city. Had not done a lot of research on this city, but this city is definitely old. So as you can see, there's an outer canal that goes around the city. That's the new canal. The old canal, which goes in the city, is a lot older. Here you have churches. The new church is from 1200. The old church is from 900. And here they have all kinds of relics here. One of the things that I was surprised with was there was a church, the Basilica of the Holy Blood. This has some of the blood of Christ inside. So it's a holy relic that people come from all over to see this one thing. But the city itself is old. It's from, let's say 900 years old. Actually, this church that's right next to it here, the Holy Blood, was from 1200, and that was the new church. And before that, set a church from 900 that the French destroyed to build a new church, the 1200-year-old church. So this area is historic area, and you could easily spend a week just in this area. And today we got a little late start on our trip. We were bus number 25 leaving the port. And the buses are really easy to find. You look for the number 25 and the name of your tour, and also find your guide with the number 25 paddle that he's holding. After we cross over this red bridge, well, this bridge is a moat. This is the outer canals that are on here, the new canals. On the other side, fortifications, earthen mounds, and forts, essentially, and an inner moat. And we'll have to cross over another bridge at the inner moat. We had no idea what to expect here, but as we cross over this canal, on the other side is buildings from the 1600s and 1500s. And this was a pretty area, all decorated with flowers and an armory. You could see the round building at the end of the bridge is an armory. And after crossing over the bridge, well, this once used to be a drawbridge, so they could close up the drawbridge and keep people out. But this area on the other side is still the suburbs of the medieval city. This is still the newer section from the 1500s and 1600s. But already you could see where this is going to be a pretty area. It already looks like Cinderella's castle could have been here easily. Each step that we take toward the inner city is going further and further back in time. As we walk down the old streets, you can see the walls on it. This is from an old fortification. On the other side would be barracks for soldiers, or could even be medical areas so that they could treat injured people. I'm not sure exactly what all these buildings were used for, but whoever lived there, they were probably the rich people of the day. And all around you could see more and more canals, and as we cross the canals, the sections get older and older. You could see the buildings painted white. Our guide was saying that the older buildings are painted white to help protect the brick. And as we come up to our first rest break on the other side of this bridge, well, here you can see all the trees bent over from the winds. Yeah, the Belgian wind that powers all these windmills have bent the trees over. And this used to be a monastery or a nunnery for the nuns, and they still live here. Ever since the 1700s, this has been a nunnery. As we walk through Bruges, our guide is narrating what we're passing through a headset that we're wearing. Here he could reach everybody, by a good distance. If he were talking, it'd be too loud for anybody to hear, but the headset makes it perfect for it to hear him. As we continue through the streets of Bruges, we're starting to see come in the picture our next church that we're going through, the Cathedral of the Savior. Here, we're going to get closer and closer to it, but first we have to go down some narrow streets of Bruges before we can get there. And after turning a corner in the streets, we received this cathedral. The original cathedral was built in the 10th century, but fires destroyed it. And the one you see has been standing here since the 1200s. So this one has withstood the test of time, as you could say. Like I say, the original was built in the 10th century. And after staying outside the cathedral for a few minutes, we're going to continue on our history path, going a little bit older in time. Yeah, we thought the 1300s was old, but we're still going back in time. We're going to cross a few more canals and come out on some streets, well, that are even older. These are a little more busy though. As we continue in walking back in time, the street that we're walking on was first recorded in 1302. So that's the earliest date that this street is recorded in history. But there's no telling how old that it actually is, because it was probably a little cart street before that. But either way, we're still walking back in time to get some of the other historical churches that are in the area. Canals in the town are everywhere, and there's also river cruises, so you could take a river cruise through the canals. But everywhere you go, there's doors along the canals that in the old days would have brought freight in to the city. So everything was done by waterway, going out to sea. And you're coming to someplace important wherever the building's getting more and more ornate. And as soon as we turn the corner, we see this building. This is an impressive building, and we thought it was, the medieval church of the Holy Blood. And on looking at it, we thought that this was a church. But turns out this is City Hall in the 1300s. This was the medieval City Hall of Bruges, like I say, from the 1300s. But what we didn't understand was the church is actually here too. It's over in the corner of City Hall. City Hall was actually added onto the church, and you could see it right here in the corner. Just over the guy in the ball cap's head is a building that's kind of blackish looking, and I've gotten a better picture of it. This contains the relic of Jesus' blood on a piece of cloth. that was supposedly brought back from Jerusalem from the Crusades. As we leave the Basilica of the Holy Blood, like I said, that was built in the early 1100s. We're going to the city center. Here it's a little bit newer stuff, and as you can hear in the background, the Belfry of Brugge is chiming away. This also was medieval. The original was built back in the 10th century also, but this one has been rebuilt in the 1300s. And as the Belfries of Brugge finally starts to calm down, we could hear our guide again, because the bells are loud. You can hear them everywhere. Here, I think it was 37 bells that are located in this one tower. Like I say, it was built in the 1300s. But all around this city square, well, is the yellow pages of its day. At the top of each building would be a chicken. And that would be where you would find somebody who did poultry. A fish would be on top, and that would be where you could find a fisherman, or a butcher, or a carpenter, or anything that you were looking for. Look at the top of the buildings, and you could see little symbols up there, and that's the trade that this particular building was associated with. Here, our guide gave us a couple of hours to walk around and get something to eat, see the sights of the area, and go shop for souvenirs. And after 2 hours, we would meet back up at the same spot and go off on a chocolate tour. So we'll take you a look at the area. And the first thing I can think to do is take a selfie in the town square in front of the Bells of Brugge. And as we leave the square, it's time to go off on our chocolate experience. You can't record the whole experience, but I did manage to catch a few snippets of the chocolate milk.
Logically, the main ingredient for that is good sweet chocolate. We've got dark, milk, and white to choose from. Now, I hope you guys know that we get our chocolate from this circa bean, right? Can be a variety of colors, can be greenish hues.
The chocolate maker went over a few ingredients that goes into the chocolate, like the cocoa beans and sugar and everything else that he puts in, before he pours out a few molds of chocolate. Here, he poured out a few for us to sample, so I happily took a couple of them. And after our chocolate tour, we were brought back into the Belfry of Brugge Square, where that we had a few more minutes to sit around shop and try some drinks out. So, yeah, we got some chocolate, sat around, and ordered a round of drinks. Of course, the whole time, the bells were playing in the background, so you have to listen to those again. If I were in the 1300s and heard these bells constantly, it would become annoying if my house was nearby.
When in Belgium and you want to try a beer, and you just can't pick out which one to try, well, you try them all. So, this is the first four. There we have apple cider for Cheryl. Beer in Belgium. We've already had chocolate, now beer. So the order of beer, the darker beer would have been my least favorite. The kind of pale beer would have been my second choice. Third choice. And then my favorite is the red one over here. That one has like a fruity taste to it. I've learned that I like apple cider, and that kind of tastes like apple cider. So that would be the choices in order. Beers of Belgium. Hold on a second. Okay.
There's cherry beer,
Yeah.
there's the blonde beer, regular beer, there's the white beer, Garden, and there's the black beer.
Nice.
Thank you. Nice.
And we're leaving medieval Bruges, heading back to the cruise port. Our day here is ended, but first through all the medieval houses and the streets around here. Excellent little tour to Bruges. I think we could stay here for a week easily.
think I found my kind of souvenir stand. Just give me a couple years and I'll try them all. And as we leave Bruges, well, we're passing right back through the areas that we came through earlier and picking up on the flowers that we're leaving behind. These are always good to watch. I always love taking pictures of the flowers, and it calms you down just a little bit from all the chaos that's going on around the city.
It's time for snacks on a bus. Today we'll try these. No idea what they are.
Baked rolls, sour cream and onion. Kind of looks like Melba toast.
We'll see what they taste like.
I tried because I didn't want you guys out there doing what you exactly did.
Well, he said catch a caller, and well, I'm trying.
Of course, as we have snacks, we have the traditional Coke Zero.
Find it everywhere.
Snacks on a bus.
Then after we walked, we had a lot of fun.
And as we return to the ship, it's our dining time already. And we went straight to our room, changed clothes, and then it was time to eat. After all we had to eat today was Melba toast, chocolate, and a few beers. So, yeah, tonight I did not fulfill my duties in taking all the pictures of all the food. Yeah, I think the alcohol may have changed my judgment on that. So we'll blame the alcohol for me not taking any pictures of the food. But I did manage to take pictures of the dessert. And after all, dessert is the best part of the meal anyway. So you have pictures of the dessert. And in case you're wondering where tonight's menu music came from, well, it was a puppeteer that we saw on the street. This guy. The song that he was playing in the background is also the music that you're hearing. But back to the food. For dessert, Cheryl had the baked Alaska. And I had my usual Carnival melting cake, but with only one ice cream. And remember, we're on the fun ship, which means singing and dancing. The dining room staff managed to get one of our table mates up to dance. And even though I can't play the music, I think this music is just as fitting for the songs that they were playing. Yep, it's kind of fun watching them get up. And the guy was having the time of his life, dancing with all the crew. And that you like to see, somebody living out their best life.
And heading back to Dover. But today, fog. So it's pretty thick fog out there, a little misty rain, it's thickening. Haven't heard the foghorn yet, but usually that's what happens when fog comes up. And as you can see as I look down, we're not going very fast. So they have slowed the speed down. Of course, we're just across the channel from Dover. So they probably don't have to go very fast, but we're definitely going slow. And all the fog outside.
And tonight is the most dreaded night of the cruise. Tonight is the night that you set out your luggage. You set it out by the door and they'll pick it up and take it away from you. And of course, this is the following morning. Today, all that we're doing is getting off the ship and going to the airport. But today, we've also taken another trip through Carnival. We got their bus. We're going to take their bus to the London Heathrow Airport, and it's going to pick us up right at the terminal bright and early. As you can see, they had a whole lot of buses that were heading that way. So if you plan on getting a tour to London Heathrow or one of the other airports, there's plenty of room on the buses. It looked like the majority of the people were doing the same thing. So as soon as we walked down to the end, they checked our name off the list and loaded us up onto a bus. So no hassle at all getting on there. And in case you're wondering how fast do they go out on the next cruise, well, it's just a few hours after we leave. We'll get off the ship at about 7 o'clock. At about 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, they'll start loading up again for the next cruise. And the next adventure begins for the other folks. But for us, today's the end, and we'll pack up and go straight home. We had a non-stop flight from London Heathrow to our own home airport, New Orleans, Louisiana. And we missed out on another segment that we should have had because the bus ride is 2 hours from the port to the port of London Heathrow, so we should have had snacks on a bus on the way to the airport. But anyway, hopefully you've liked this episode and our 12 days of cruising on board the Carnival Legend. And of course, we had a few days before a pre-cruise celebration before we got on the ship. If so, hit the subscribe button and the bell button and be informed each time that we have a video series come out. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.